Hey guys, I thought I was going to talk a little bit about Venezuela. I should call this an opinion and a bong rip. So, one more. All right, so here's my thought. I totally get, and I'm not going to focus on the drugs too much. Like, I can't stand the hard drugs, right? Like, I'm down with weed, but nothing else for the most part. I'm not even that interested in alcohol for the most part. But, like, you take, like, if you're shipping in fentanyl, you gotta be dealt with, okay? But I don't want to focus on that. I just want to focus on the oil aspect of all of this. Do you remember how not long ago it was that gasoline was like $6 a gallon in parts of the country like California? Hell, even in Oregon, you know, not that long ago, it was like $4.50 a gallon, right? And like, no one wants to drill here in America, and so how many options do we have to get affordable fuel? Now, one might say, no, the price of fuel is already going down. We don't need to do all this to get oil. The price of fuel never stays down that long. Like, it'll go down and then we get excited and everyone buys gas guzzling cars, and then the price of fuel doubles again. And then people panic. So I would say the more we can kick the can down the road of as far as the price of fuel going back up, the better. And we got to get oil somehow. Like, how are we gonna get the oil without doing some heavy-handed shit? Here it is. I knew I had a bottle of water around. This joint sucks. God damn it, I wish I hadn't. But I bought 4 of those joints and they weren't as good as the last ones I had been buying. Random weed review. If you can buy these in your area, they're fantastic. These Styx infused joints. Anyway, I don't recommend the sativa that I just got. So, yeah, now, how are we going to get the fuel? Do you want cheap fuel or not? Americans are broke. They're fucking broke. And everyone wants to scream about their ideals. And plenty of these people that are screaming about us not going for oil, they're broke too. I bet many of them don't even drive. So that's why they feel like they can scream for oil. Like, I believe in freedom of speech, but I feel like there should be an unspoken rule. If something in politics does not affect you, like if it doesn't involve you, then just shut the fuck up. Like, just move on. Like, get out of the conversation. No one wants you. If you don't drive and you're screaming and yelling and pushing for all kinds of legislation, oh, God fucking damn it, to stop our because, like, look, I'm sick of the warmongering, right? But like, if you give us a reason to go in and you have a shit ton of oil, and you don't cooperate. Like if you're legitimately shipping out drugs, like you're actually doing that, and we say to you, motherfucker, you gotta stop it, and then you say, come and get me, fuck you. Like that's just asking for it. And then you have fuel. Then you also have oil. You know? Like, how did I end up with this? It's we can't be like, you have two magnets, and if you got both positive, they just kind of repel. You can't be that way politically. You can't just like have opinions that have no positive outcome. And there's a lot of people in this country who just, like, don't get me wrong, I constantly bitch about what the government does. But I immediately say this is what I would do. And I'm not saying that there's any value in that, except there's less value in just criticizing everything the opposite party does. There's zero value in that. If you can't, motherfucker, if you can at least demonstrate that I don't want to use the word contributing member of society, because it's just giving our opinions. I don't know how much of a contribution that is, but I can look at somebody with an opinion, that if someone that says, for example, like if you said, I don't think we should have gone to war, maybe we should have done X, Y, and Z diplomatically, fine. But if you just say, no, we shouldn't invade, and then I'm like, well, what's your solution? Fuck you. That's my solution. And these people are just anti-Trump all day. And I don't care. Like, it's not that I'm like, I'm kind of a moderate. I'm not really enthusiastic about Trump, and I become less enthusiastic about Trump by the day, because there's just a lot of things I don't feel like he backed up that he promised. But some people in this country are just sandpaper. They are just an enormous waste of time, and with their opinions, they're just shitting all over everything. Like, I guess hating America and having no solutions and being destructive is what some of these people are just all about. But I'm going to circle back to my original point. We need to keep the price of fuel down, and the Democrats have done everything within their power to make driving impossible, unaffordable. Their stupid legislation, all the environmental restrictions that, like, don't get me wrong, I want clean air. Like, I don't like, I don't want vehicles that are fucking making the air impossible to breathe. But, like, cars have some kind of emissions. Like, what do you want? Like, it ruins the cars in so many ways. The ideal solution with the car is less parts, right? And if you force manufacturers to overcomplicate their vehicles and make them all big, to get around DEQ, all the regulation, there's less regulation for larger vehicles, which doesn't make sense to me. So you would think, so it's just, and on top of it, all of our cities are getting so tight, because they're just making the lanes more, like, less lanes and more bike lanes, and the parking spaces are, everything's squishing us down as the cars are getting larger and larger and larger. And it makes them more expensive. Everything the Democrats do, like, Democrats hate a driver. I don't know why. Like, let's punish people in cars so the air will be clean. That's their solution. And once again, I'm a moderate. I want clean air, and I understand people need a car to get around. And if you don't live in a big state and you're confused, go spend some time in a big state and see how quickly you get in a car. You know? Like, you can't, like, you know how many 20-mile drives I do? Just 'cause? You know? Like, you know, I gotta go somewhere. Well, it's 20 fucking miles away. Like, it happens so often, there's no arguing with it. That's just what happens when you live in one of the biggest states in the union. So, I'm just so, I guess the resounding point I'm making is, I think people that are not affected by a thing politically, no matter what it is, need to keep their trap shut about it, especially driving. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous how difficult having a car, owning a car has become for 1,000 reasons. And 99% of the problems are coming from the Democratic Party and just stupid, unproductive far lefters that don't have an opinion, period, except for whatever Trump is doing now. You know, I don't have a car, so fuck you. Let's take and lower all the fucking speed signs so your city gets terribly congested. And the only reason why we ever did it was because retarded pedestrians just step out into the street without fucking waiting. You know, like, I got the right of way. I'm gonna throw myself in front of a vehicle. You know, it's like, do you know how physics work? Like, you don't. Almost no cars will stop right now. You know what I mean? Like, even new cars, like, there's a limit to all of that. Especially if you're going fucking 50 miles per hour. So, like, there's like one road near me that used to be the only decent road for miles, other than highways, like big, like, interstates. This might have counted as some kind of highway, but it was 45 for like 6 miles of it. And there was like a light every 3 miles or 2 miles or whatever. Like, you could just go, and it's the only road in the city that I know of that you could do this. And then they made it 35. And they made it 35 because crackheads kept getting fucking run over. And instead of saying, oh well, who cares? That is the consequence of throwing yourself in front of a vehicle like a retard, right? Now, don't get me wrong, right of way is right of way. And, like, if you know, if the driver sees you, if you see that driver coming from far enough away that he could have stopped, and you step out and still get hit, like, I'm gonna be pissed off at that driver, and everyone's gonna know the driver was wrong. But, like, pedestrians don't even fucking try to watch where they're going. Like, it's especially Democrats. Like, it's all the people that hate driving that are this way. God. And it's just this lawless, don't give a fuck. Maybe they think they're special. I'm first. You know, the kind of person, like, I went to a dispensary once. This cocksucker guns it into the parking space, jumps out of his car, runs inside. I had been in the space for a good 10 seconds. I had parked and I saw him coming, so I waited because I didn't, you know, want to open my door if he was going to use the space next to me. He hauled ass in there, had no idea what he was buying, had no cash. I waited on him for 10 minutes. These are the kind of assholes that will just step into the street and say, fuck you, deal with it. And it's like, bitch, who's going to be dealing with it? Like, if you end up underneath my car, the one who's going to be dealing with it, I'll be dealing with something, but whatever you're dealing with is going to be far more than whatever I'm dealing with. And I'm not going to enjoy it, and I don't want to run anybody over. To be clear, whenever I talk this way, everybody on the internet gets all butthurt and they start crying, and they're like, no, you admit you want to run people over. When it happens, we're going to pull this up. It's like, bitch, you don't drive. It's obvious you don't drive. Or you're one of these people that just thinks everyone needs to account for you, right? Where it's the other way around. You need to account for everybody else around you. And follow the yielding laws. If the person next to you has their turn signal on and they're a little bit in front of you, but not quite enough, just lift your foot off the gas pedal and flick your high beams. Let them in. Now, if this other driver is just not getting in and slowing down everything, then gun it past them and flip them off. Fuck that guy. But it's the problem with being a Democrat is you don't give a fuck about anybody. And it's just a constant. I mean, I don't know if it's a West Coast problem, if it's a problem with cities, but it's always the pro-riot, pro-crime, pro-lawlessness, pro-anything productive. Right? It's so frustrating living amongst these assholes. I want to move to a red state. I'm high as fuck, to be clear. That joint didn't hit good, but it got the job done. I'm just tired of rude assholes, and I know that they exist in red states, to be fair, and far left retards are going to be the first to jump up and be like, people are worse in red states. I don't think they are. I really don't. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Christian. I smoke pot. I don't like the ridiculous laws around civil liberties in red states, right? When it comes to smoking pot. I think that should just be a civil liberty if drinking is. But people are fucking rude here. People are rude on the West Coast. And most of them are just, at best, not people I want to be friends with. Because they're very selfish and just kind of shitty. And I don't really know how to put my finger on it. But they will cut you off in traffic. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And it's a constant pattern I've seen here my entire life. And I blame California mostly. I don't know what's in the water down there that makes everybody such a piece of shit and stuck up and rude and just, pro-crime or straight up criminals themselves. Don't get me wrong, I like gangster rap, but I know that it is hard to get away with crime. And you really got to be good to stay in the game. And I don't think I'll ever be good enough to beat the government. And that's not the only reason why I'm not a drug dealer. That's not the only reason why I am not a hitman. Call me a pussy, but I don't know. I don't feel right about hurting other people for cash. And at some point, you got to do a certain level of that. At some point, you got to be a man, and it's hard to make money without hurting somebody. But I don't want to get in anybody's business, right? Until it involves me directly, I'm not a snitch, right? But I don't want to kill people for money. I'm not down with that. That's just, I don't know. I mean, if somebody was a super duper duper bad guy, then maybe it would be a different story. If you could prove that all these people were as bad as Adolf Hitler, then okay. But I don't want to sell hard drugs for money. I would sell weed for money. That would be fun. I don't think anyone's getting hurt smoking some pot. But I feel bad if I sell drugs to somebody and they die. Right? And I know that people got to do what they need to do to make money. And I know that the government makes it this way. The government makes a situation where jobs don't pay, and if somebody can commit a crime and make a month's wages in a day, they're going to do that, other than working some dog shit miserable job that just makes you want to kill yourself. Like, this is a big reason why crime exists. But I don't think it should be something that you I think if you enjoy killing innocent people for money, like, that's a different situation. And people get off on gangster rap. Some people get off on the crimes that they talk about in gangster rap. And, like, I kind of like the attitude of gangster rap, but, like, crime does not bring me pleasure, you know? And we all got to do what we all got to do. But when when someone stabs an innocent person in broad daylight, and most of your city supports this person, if somebody is like coming, there was a story where this lady was about to stab another lady, and a cop shot the lady with the knife, like inches away from it. Would have been death a second later for the innocent bystander. The cop shoots the lady with the knife to save the innocent, right? This was an act of heroism. Anybody with a gun should have done that, to do the right thing. No one wants to kill anybody. Well, good people don't want to kill people, but sometimes you got to pull the trigger to save an innocent life from someone who's just lost it. And if I remember correctly, I think the whole city rioted and they burnt a bunch of shit down because the cop acted in somebody else's self-defense. And I bring this up because it's like this with everything. Like, I'm not a fan of the police. Most of the time, I think they're a waste of time, at best. But why would you demonize that cop in that story? What if it was your sister that was about to be stabbed and the cops saved her life? Would you be like, fuck that cop? Like, what's wrong? Why are so many people so far on the wrong side of it now? Like, I don't want to say things like certain people are evil, because evil becomes a subjective conversation, but goddamn. Like, it's just, and when people were blowing up downtown Portland, most of that city supported the riot. When they were, and there are innocent people who own and live and operate out of all those buildings. Now, if you want to go attack a government building, I think that's more fair. I don't know if it's right, but I think that's more fair, because you're saying, I have a problem with this politician, and I'm taking the fight straight to them. That is more fair than saying, I have a problem with the politician, so I'm going to burn down Bob's Burger stand. Bob's Burgers, I'm sorry. But, you know, some poor Mexican's restaurant gets burnt down. You know, some family business gets burnt down. That's who gets hurt in these stupid riots. Like, the far left think like bad people lose property in these riots. No, it's a bunch of honest people. It's honest black business owners, Mexican business owners, white business owners. People that are living in residences get hurt, get their shit burnt down. That's who gets hurt in these fucking riots that are something about the state or a corporation or whatever the fuck. Not like it is often immigrants that get the most hurt in these riots. When people think that they're attacking the government, they're really just attacking their own people. And I a lot of my friends growing up were Mexicans, you know? Like, I think a lot of white people think that, like, they think that they know about every other color of the rainbow's problem, right? They think they know all the minorities' life story. And they don't know who really gets hurt when your society turns against order. I'm not a fan of the state. I'm not a fan of the police. I'm not a fan of the government. But I am a fan of saying, if someone's lost their mind and they're running around with a knife, put them in jail. Don't let them out. Give them a real trial. But they just release these crazy people. And people all over the West Coast, they love it. They love it when psychopaths are free. I don't get it. Now, if you lock somebody up for smoking some pot, then I understand people should I don't think riot, but they should protest. They should make their voices heard. They should lose it. But if you're burning shit down and attacking people and you get killed by the police, like, that's just called losing a fight, right? So anyway, I don't even know what the original point of this was. Just I'm going to bullet point this because I'm really doing my best to just talk, because most of the time I'm not good at talking this long, so I'm trying to take advantage of it. At least be productive with your fucking opinions. Like, America needs to stop being so obstructive. Like this, they're just obstructing everything. They're just a roadblock. And it's like, bitch, if you think this is or that is a bad idea, could you offer a better suggestion at least? Not just dismantle the country. You know, we need cheaper fuel. And they fucked with us. You know? So he's using the drugs as leverage to topple a government. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of us toppling governments. I'm really not. I think this could have been handled a different way. Maybe. But also, he didn't seem like he was going to cooperate at all. So we need to realize that. So maybe this was our only option. But, like, he's definitely using the drugs to get the oil. That's it. I mean, I'm not... But we need cheap oil. If you're bitching about actions taken to get... Here's an idea. I think this is fair. If you don't like wars around oil, like, if you don't like... I don't like wars around oil, right? I think the Iraq war was bullshit. He lied just to get the fuel, right? We could have done that differently. We could have maybe got some fuel diplomatically. But, fuck, I forgot what my point was. But I think if you don't like what Trump's doing in Venezuela to get us cheaper fuel, if you don't like more pipelines to get us cheaper fuel, you should pay twice the amount that everyone else is for gas. And then we can back out of these wars. You'll float the bill, and then we won't go to a war. I think that's fair. Do people want to pay more for fuel? What do you want? You gotta want one thing or the other. So, anyway, that's just a very long political rant. I'm mostly doing this because I don't feel productive with talking, and I'm just trying to keep my flow. So, anyway, thanks for watching.